So we've seen the incredible value and the business potential of an open ecosystem. But if the value is so clear, I think one of the question pop out for all the audience would be, why isn't every factory software defined yet?
I mean, I have a couple of thoughts, and as I showed at the beginning, in the reality, it's a lot of patchwork, right? And to entangle this patchwork system of, okay, I have this system and I need to combine that system so that I have somewhat universal API that I can actually use, that is driving the industry. And I think that would already help, together with understanding that it is also possible to have a solution now that is not vendor locked in, right? I know that people out there are stuck in a vendor lock-in and they don't want to, right? And fixing it is getting easier and easier, right? This transition of having an existing system and then you make changes in small places. As I said, little translator boxes here and there, just a small Node-RED application translating a protocol already enables you to transition from your existing hierarchical structure to a more open approach. And then you can do this bit by bit. And then by the end, you will have everything in your digital highway. And then you can gain value from it, right? So really say, okay, there is a way out of a vendor lock-in. You can do that. I know it's effort, but it's little effort if you do it step by step. And to also have the courage to make changes, right? That's also something, and to take your time. That I know now everything is running, right? We just want to keep it operational, but to really think, okay, I can make changes, and I'm going to take my time to make these changes. Don't change everything at once.
Yeah.
Change it little by little to have it somewhat to have the effort in a more plannable way. But then you have the opportunity in order to change, right? But if you don't see that, if you just you have now your cost pressure, right, your time pressure, everything, and to really take a moment and think about, okay, can we improve it so that in the long run we profit, as Thomas said, right? Because we don't have these high operational costs anymore, and we need to change also.
Yeah, Jacob, you point out a very interesting point that the biggest fear of the engineer always is that the machine is still runnable. Why do I need to implement any change on top of it? This is for every industry. And what you are pointing out is a very good input, is that you can start by a small portion of your machines to upgrade little by little. And in the end, you can catch the trend with easier effort in the future. So now is always the best moment to embrace this kind of new change.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we understand the mindset, changing the mindset is always hard, but I think the other point is that people tend not to trust this kind of new solutions. So my second question will refer to Thomas from acontis. How do we convince a traditional engineer that a virtualized system is as stable as his or her old POC?
Everybody's used to the classic hardware, and it's nice if you can grab a piece of hardware because you know, oh, this is rock solid. Talking about software is a bit more complex because you cannot touch it, you cannot feel the quality by your hands, but you need to trust the documentation and you need to test it. And this is what we see, that as soon as somebody starts to test it, they see more the benefits. But when they do it, then they find out, hey, there could be more things I can finally do, which have been on my plan for many years, but the effort and the cost was simply too high. And I think this is what people trust. You can build trust by providing people ideas how somebody else did it, but you also need to enable them to test it, like to taking Control X and play with it, to move around, or like we do it, we provide our hypervisor via Advantech so that somebody can test it and can play with it with support. And I think this is really one of the key enablers. People need to trust that software is as good as the hardware they can touch.
It's convincing by example.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key aspects, right? You have to trust the technology, you have to trust the capabilities. I remember initially I said, like, determinism is incredibly important, right? And please take an example, right, from SALZ Automation, from acontis, from us, right? Try it out and see if it fulfills your requirements. because by the end it's our job to ensure determinism, right, real-time capability, etc. All these aspects together with you as hardware provider, together with Advantech, and then try it out, try a small portion in order to gain trust that these systems actually work, because it's our job to make sure they work. And by the end, you need to be the ones who actually try it out and then convince yourself that this is it does exactly what it's supposed to do.
So my last question of this session or this talks, it would be to Thomas Home. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, safety. Is the fear of complex safety approvals still a major roadblock in your opinion?
Safety is some kind of, let's say, when you have the scale of automation technology, then probably safety is still something which is an extreme amount on the scale, but it's not something you have to be scared of. It is something you have to guarantee, and there are techniques available who can guarantee this kind of safety solutions. We are a partner for you if you have troubles with these kind of things, that we can support you in sense of technologies, in sense of being competitive to specifications and to argue different solutions on this market. And on our perspective, we have really now the game changer on the market to keep safety really to the virtualization world. And yes, both worlds are complex in the sense that the technologies behind are complex, but I'm quite sure the advantages of this combination are much more than the disadvantage of a complex technology. And this, on my perspective, is really now a changing situation that safety will be supported as well as other application in the world of software-defined automation.
Thank you all for these honest insights. It's clear that while the tech is here, the journey involves a shift in mindset and a step-by-step approach to building trust. And I hope you got a very good rebut or gaining after today's session. Thanks to everyone watching this InnoTalks. Join us for future episodes as we continue exploring innovations in industrial automation. Until next time.